everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and this is Stitched Up, and welcome back to another Friday Sews. I hope you're all really well and have had a great week. So I am spamming you with vlogs this week, aren't I? It's like tumbleweed. I go weeks without you hearing from me, and then you've had three. Well, you will have had three, including this one in the last week. So I think that speaks volumes about the fact that I have a little bit more time to sew now and a little bit more time to dedicate to my channel, which is brilliant because I'm not working as much as what I used to. So let's hope it continues. Anyway, if you haven't already seen it, I was part of the vlogator for So Fruity challenge run by Blossom Sandwich over on Instagram and YouTube. I will link to my vlog up here. I think it's up here, it might be up there. I always get this wrong every week. But anyway, I was taking part in this vlogator and my vlog went up yesterday, was it? Or was it the day before? Wednesday, the 25th anyway. So I will link to that because I will be chatting a little bit about that in this week's vlog. But I thought I would come back today for a little chatty update, let you know how I've been getting on in the last week since we last spoke. And yeah, that's why I'm here. Okay, so we will start by this little beauty in the background here rather than what I'm wearing, because I'll come to that shortly. But yes, I'm sure you've spotted this dress in the background. If I bring it forward, I will show you in a little bit more detail. But this is a dress that I'm working on as part of my summer plans projects, and it is Vogue V9311, this one. So it's this dress that I am making here. If you watched my summer plans vlog, you will again realise that I did include this pattern as part of my summer plans, but the fabric that was in that vlog was very different and I changed my mind. And the reason I changed my mind on this occasion was purely because I didn't have enough fabric to get this dress out of, because I thought you could get this out of 3 meters, 3.5 meters, something like that. You would think you probably could, but actually you can't. So when I actually looked at the fabric requirements in a little bit more detail, it takes about 4.5 to 5 meters of fabric. So I realized pretty quickly that the fabric that I originally picked to make this dress, I just didn't have enough of. So it meant that I needed to go hunting the stash, because I didn't want to buy any new fabric really for this project, because I would need a big length of it. And I thought I'll just go have a look in the stash, see if I can find something that's going to work with the design and work and have enough meterage. If you can hear that tinkling in the background, I'm really sorry. I've got one of those like wind chimes outside on my pergola at the side of the house, and I've got the window open because it's really, really warm. Anyway, back to the dress. So I found this gorgeous viscose linen in my stash, which is just blue and white, sort of painterly watercolor splashes. I really like it. I have no idea where I got this from, no idea how long I've had it, but I did have enough length to make this dress. So I'm almost there with it. I just have to try it on, and the reason I say I'm going to try it on is because I need to make sure that this is not gaping. Now I did stay stitch the front bias neckline, the front V. I stay stitched it a lot, but I'm still a bit worried it might be gaping. So what I thought I would do before I fasten down the lining of the bodice inside, now the pattern itself actually doesn't require you to do that. It has you do bias tape all around the raw edges of the neckline, but I didn't want to do that. I thought it would look better lined, so I've lined it just with a plain white cotton lawn, and I'm really happy that I've done that. But before I stitch the lining down to the bodice, I just want to try it on, because if this is gaping a little bit, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise it up at the shoulders, so it will, I'll just take in a bit of length from the shoulder seam, and then hopefully that will sort of just pull that taut, and then it will fit my body better. So That's the plan. But basically you've got this very deep V front bodice, and you've got double pleats either side of the waistline seam, and then at the back you have a tie which is stitched into the side seams both sides, and then obviously you can just cinch it in at the sides, at the back even. But yeah, and then it's just fully lined all the way inside with cotton lawn. I haven't lined the skirt, I've left that as is. But this dress is really long. Now, I don't know what height Vogue patterns are drafted for. If anybody does, please let me know. But I have to still add the frill along the bottom. That's where I'm up to. And I haven't done that yet. But looking at this dress, it is going to hit me without the frill right at my ankles, which means I am going to have to shorten the skirt by a fair bit so that I can add the bottom frill on, and I really do want to do that. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe I've made an error and not cut it, because looking at the back line drawings, I think the pattern pieces for the skirt for both views actually is the same pattern piece, and I've traced the pattern pieces off because I don't like to cut any pattern unless it's something that's just rectangles, you know, like a gathered loose fit skirt dress thing, baby doll dress, that's the word. I don't mind doing it with those because I know that my weight changes and things like that, I'm still roughly going to be in the same size. But I yo-yo, as those of you that have been following me for a lot of years will know, my weight is up and down all over the place, and my size is up and down all over the place, and I don't want to have to repurchase patterns because they're expensive. So as much as I can, I will trace patterns off at the size I am at the time I intend to make the pattern, and that's what I did with this. I cut off the size, no, I traced off the size 10 bodice and graded out to a 12 skirt, and that gives a finished garment measurement of about 40.5 inch bust, and I can't remember the skirt, to be honest, but this has no fastenings on it as well. That's the other thing, so it's just a throw on over your head jobby, which is great. So there's no zip or anything like that. But I think what I've done is when I've traced this skirt off, I've actually not put on the line for this view when it comes to cutting out the fabric. I think I have cut the full length, and I think that's the issue. So I need to obviously chop off a big proportion of the bottom, then add the frill at the bottom. Does it have pockets? Yeah, we've got pockets in here as well, which is great. Side seam pockets. I've understitched the side seam pockets so that they lay nice and flat, but yeah, we've got pockets both sides, which is great. But yeah, it's very, very long, shall we say, and I do want to add the frill at the bottom because I think that will be a really nice finishing touch to this dress. Yes, it's very deep, I totally get that, and I'm going to see how this looks when I try it on. If it's an issue, I'll just put a few little ladder stitches in the bottom and just raise it up a little bit, but we'll see. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. So that's the V9311, which is what I have been working on this week. And I've also made this, which is what I am wearing. So let me just move my mannequin to the side and I can tell you a little bit more about this. So this is the Zadie jumpsuit by Paper Theory. I'm sure lots of you have, if not heard of this pattern, you might have made it as well because it was a very popular pattern. It's been out a few years now. I have made 4 Zadies, but 2 of them are obsolete, and there's reasons for that. The first one I made was in a sort of rusty brown linen, which was my, which I made a few years ago now, and I'm not sure where it is actually, but I made it in a size 8 when I was previously more or less the size I am now, and obviously because I gained weight, it no longer fit me, so I couldn't wear it for a number of years. And then I made a play suit version, which I'd forgotten that the previous one didn't really fit me very well, so when I made that it was really hard to get into, so that ended up being donated. And then I started making a viscose version last year in some beautiful viscose that I got from Manjit at Lucky Fashions in Dewsbury. But then when I cut the legs out, I realised that even though this was like a tie-dye viscose, there was actually a bit of a pattern to the fabric, and what that meant was that when I'd cut the legs out, I'd not pattern matched, and it was very, very obvious. So I didn't have enough fabric to recut the legs, so they got put to one side, because I do need to go back and just repurchase another probably 1.5 meters of viscose so that I can continue to finish that pair of Zadies. Is it a pair? No, jumpsuit? I don't know. Anyway, so they got put to one side, and then that's been it until, again, in my summer plans, I wanted to make another one. And I wanted to just make a plain black one, because I honestly think, you know, you can't go wrong with plain black, can you? As much as we all love the pretty prints, and I love prints and I love sewing with prints, I think when it comes to jumpsuits and trousers, don't know why, it's just my opinion for my own personal style, I find it very difficult to wear printed jumpsuits and printed trousers. I don't know why. It's just one of my little quirks, I guess. And I think that I personally find it very hard to find a print that works for me in a jumpsuit or trousers. I have made printed trousers and jumpsuits before, and then not reached for them because I feel a bit, I don't know, a bit in your face, I guess. And so I think, you know, a plain jumpsuit is always a good option, isn't it? Because I know that it's something that I will reach for time and time again, and you can never go wrong with black, let's face it. But it's no fun sewing black things, let's just say that, especially when it comes to the evening and the light's not great. Although I have got my serious light somewhere. You can't see it, it's off. No, you can see it, it's there, look. My serious light there, which gives sort of daylight effect when it's not daylight, and it works really well, so that's very helpful. But it's just no fun sewing with black, is it? Let's face it, because black is boring to sew with, because we want to sew the prints. Anyway, I sort of pushed that to one side and thought I do need to make myself a Zadie in black, so that's what I've done. And I got this sewed up the weekend, I think it was, more or less. And interesting little fact for you here. So when I was hemming this and I tried it on, it felt like one leg was a little bit longer than the other. So I got Martin to have a look, and he said, oh no, I don't think they are, I don't think they are. And then on Monday we went to York for the day, and I caught sight of myself in one of the shop windows, and I said, are you sure this is not longer than the other leg, because it really feels like it's significantly longer. And he looked at me, he said, stand together. So I stood with my legs together, and he said, yeah, probably about 1/4 inch. And I thought, great. But then when I was in one of the shops, there was, like, you know, full length mirror. So I stood in front of this full length mirror. It was not 1/4 inch. It was a good inch difference between my right leg and my left. So I spent the rest of the day feeling really awkward, and that everybody was staring at me with this massive difference between the two legs, which in a plain black fabric stands out a mile, let's face it. And trying as much as I can to stand not with my legs together, shall we say, so it wasn't very obvious. Anyway, the first thing I did this morning was take down the hem and recheck the leg lengths and make it right, so they are now equal, which is brilliant. But I'm going to put some pictures in of this Zadie to show you, but I will stand up and show you how it moves. So here is my Zadie. I have done the sort of 3/4 leg version, or it is classed as a full, it's the full version, put it that way. I have made no alterations to the size that I chose, which was a size 8. Now I've got the pockets in, and the one thing with this pattern, it does tell you to obviously stay stitch the neckline before you attach the bias tape around the neckline, because otherwise it is going to massively stretch out. And I did do that, but I do wish that I had done the same with the slanted pockets, because this is a viscose linen and it does have some stretch in it. And I do feel, I mean, look, you can see there that these pockets have stretched out. Yeah, so that's really annoying. So I think, you know, I need to be aware of that for the future, and I'll probably just put a little note on the pattern to remind me to do that in future. But otherwise, it was a straightforward sew. You do have sort of little pleats at the waist on the front bodice and the trousers, and again at the back as well. And then you've got the tie, which just ties all the way around. I did put some pictures on Instagram this morning, and I did notice I put one taken of me from the back, and I have got a fair bit of sort of loose fabric at the lower back, and I do think that I probably do need a sway back adjustment. I've never done one before, to be honest, and I do really need it because I do have a bit of a sway back, and it's very obvious, I think, in this pattern. But I think some of it as well is because it doesn't have darts in the trousers at the back, or the front for that matter. It's just little pleats, so you get that blue blousey effect. So I think that's probably part of it as well, but I'm not bothered because I love it. I really love it. It's very comfortable. It's lovely to wear. An easy sew, very quick, as long as you get the leg length correct for both legs, and don't make that mistake that I did. And have a husband that knows the difference between 1/4 of an inch and an inch, if you know what I mean. Anyway, let's move on. So that was my 2 makes that I have done this week. As I say, got the Zadie done, got a lot of this dress done, but then yesterday, I had yesterday off work as well as being off today, which is just lovely because the weather's been glorious this week, although yesterday was unbearably hot and humid, and yeah, it just gets too much. We go from one extreme to the other in this country. We never have a happy medium. Anyway, I had this little bit of inspiration yesterday morning that I wanted to revisit pattern drafting. So I did do my own bodice block a couple of years ago, and I haven't done a lot with it since, if I'm honest. Lots of reasons for that, but anyway, yesterday morning I thought, you know what, I want to make a little top because I am working on my So Fruity make, which has to be completed by Sunday to upload to Instagram, because that's the reveal date. So I'm working on that at the minute, so I can't show you that because obviously if you watched my So Fruity vlog, you will know that I didn't say which, I said which pattern I was doing, which is the mauve skirt by True Bias. I'll put an image of that here, but I didn't say what fabric out of all the options that I showed you in that vlog I chose. And so far, I don't think anybody's got it right, which is interesting. There's been a few people that have all said the same fabric, but which again is interesting, but nobody's actually said the one that I have chosen. So anyway, I can't show you that at the minute, but that's what I'm working on right now. And I had this image in my head of a top to wear with this skirt, and I thought, do you know what, instead of searching for a pattern to buy, or even thinking of adapting a pattern that I already own, I thought I'm just going to have a go at drafting one, because I only wanted a very simple top with a sort of drop sleeve like this, loose fit, round neck, just throw on over your head, no fastenings, but a boxy sort of fit, slightly cropped, with a drawstring at the waist to sort of gather it in. I just had this image in my head that that would look fantastic with this skirt in a plain fabric. So I dug my bodice block out and had a little go. I used a few little resources online as to how to adapt my bodice and create this pattern, and I did it. I absolutely did it. So here is my little top. I will put some pictures in. Well, I'm saying I'll put some pictures in. I probably won't, because I want to put this on with the mauve skirt when it's completed. So I'm going to focus on getting that done, and I will probably show you this next week. If you're on Instagram, you'll see it on Sunday when I upload it, because I'm going to upload it as a full outfit. But if you're not on Instagram, don't worry. I will take some photos, obviously, and I'll show you it in next week's vlog with my mauve skirt. But yeah, I self-drafted this top, and here it is. So this is just a little sort of cotton lawn voile that I had in my stash. It's got a little bit of muck on there. It's probably a bit of makeup, to be honest, because I wore this yesterday. But I changed the darted bodice to a drop shoulder, just a very slight drop shoulder. I don't think actually it comes as far down as this one. And I added a facing, and then created just a casing at the bottom. I inserted some little eyelets, look, and yes, piping cord, because that's all I had at the time, because I decided this would be a wearable toile. I didn't want to use precious fabric for this particular version because I wasn't sure if it was going to fit or be the right length or whatever. I thought, I need to use something that I'm not that precious about. So I've got plenty of this cotton lawn in my stash. Can't remember where I got it from actually, and I know it's a little bit transparent, but with a nude bra on underneath it'll be okay. It is quite cropped. It's probably just a little bit too cropped, but I think working with the Maeve skirt is going to work really well. I think for subsequent versions of this, because I am going to make more because I really like it, I am going to just lengthen it just probably by about another inch, I think, and that's going to work really well for me. But yeah, I love the little drawstring. I think what I could probably do is make a tie from this fabric and use that as the drawstring. I think that will work. These grommets are 8mm, and I have found through trial and error that seems to be about the right size to get most drawstrings through. If you use anything much smaller than an 8mm eyelet or grommet, it's actually hard to get like a bodkin through, or a safety pin or whatever, to get it through the metal eyelet to sort of feed your drawstring through. So that's a little tip I've got there for you. But I have filmed the making of this, and I'm going to put it up as a separate little vlog so that you can see my thought processes and how I've adapted the bodice block, because I appreciate, loads of people, it might be something that they aspire to, creating their own bodice block, but it is intensive and time consuming, multiple toiles, etc., to get a bodice block perfect for you. I put a lot of work into mine a couple of years ago following a craftsy class, and so I've got that there. But if you've got another just darted bodice, something like, I don't know, just a plain darted bodice, you could easily adapt that to make something like this, is what I'm saying. So you don't have to have a bodice block as such. You just have to have a bodice pattern that you might already have that fits you really well. And I'm going to show you how to adapt it to create your own pattern. So I thought that would be quite interesting for you to follow. But yeah, I am going to make loads more of those because I really like it, and it was so lovely to wear it yesterday because, as I say, it was so hot. To wear it with shorts was just great. So that's my other little make for this week as well. And then I mentioned that we went to York on Monday. It was Martin's day off from work, which coincided with an extra day off that I had. So we had a little jaunt to York, and I went into Sewcialising, which is a lovely little fabric shop and workshop studio in York. And I was looking specifically for fabric for Layla. Now, I know that I've got loads of fabrics for Layla, but Bronte wants me to make Layla some little dungarees. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in part of my summer plans. I think I did. And the fabric that I'd chosen for her is fine, but she wants me to make more. So she's really into sort of, she said, really wacky, wild 60s style prints. So I thought, well, you know what, I'll just have a little wander into Sewcialising and also Boys in York to see if they've got anything suitable, because I didn't really have much in my stash. So I found this in Sewcialising, which I bought a metre of, and it's just beautiful. It's a cafe facet, I don't know how you pronounce that, cotton. It wasn't cheap. It was £23 a metre, which is just, ooh. I sort of did a bit of a, ooh, when I got to the cash desk when she was cutting this. But yeah, it's just wild, isn't it? Absolutely wild. So I got a metre of that to make some dungarees for her. And then we went into Boys, and I spotted a couple of other fabrics there. So I got this one, which is a polycotton, and I was a bit, don't know about polycotton, but the print, I just couldn't resist it because it's exactly what she's looking for. So look at that. It's just amazing. And I think, you know, for dungarees, it's going to be okay. So this, again, I got a metre of, and it was £2.75 a metre, which, you know, polycottons are very, very inexpensive, aren't they? So that's going to make the most amazing little pair of dungarees. And how amazing is that going to go with Layla's hair? Because, you know, she's got a shock of red hair, and it's just going to work with that so well. So I got those two for Layla, and then while we were in boys, I spotted a couple of fabrics for me, because of course I did. And I picked up this one, which when I showed Isaac, he said, I'm not a fan of that, Mum. And I said, well, that's okay, because you're not going to be wearing it. But it's a broderie on glaze cotton with a beautiful scalloped hem. It's got a double scalloped hem on it, actually, both sides. And this was £9 a metre. So if I just undo it, all these have been pre-washed now, so they might look a bit crinkly and creased because I haven't pressed them yet. But it's got this, yeah, this lovely, I think that's the wrong side actually, that's the right side. It's got this lovely scalloped hem detail. I just think that's super pretty. So yeah, both sides of the selvage are embroidered and scalloped, which I just think is lovely. So I got 2 meters of that to make, can you guess, an Anna Allen Anthea blouse, of course. And I'm going to make a feature of the scallops at the hem of the sleeves. That's the word. I think that would look really nice, and probably around the bottom. If I've got enough, I might not have enough to do that, because obviously you've got to pattern place carefully to achieve that, haven't you? And I know the Anna Allen Anthea blouse takes a fair bit of fabric because of those huge sleeves, so we'll see how we get on. And then I saw this one as well, which I loved. It's like a seersucker. I think this was about £7 or £8 a metre, and it's cotton though, 100% cotton, with these beautiful little flowers on. Quite a ditzy print, I guess, and I don't generally go for ditzy prints, but I really liked this. So I got a couple of meters of that as well, and I just want to make a little summer top. But again, I am going to have a go at drafting my own pattern, because I've seen loads of these little summer tops that are essentially just like 2 rectangles with sort of either elastic in or shirring, and just some sort of rouleau loops. Rouleau loops? No, rouleau straps. Is that the right word? You know, the thin straps anyway. And I've seen loads of these in the shops, and I spotted this one in Zara. I know it's not a great picture because it was on the hanger, but every time I see something in ready to wear now that I really like and think, oh, I might have a go at making that, I just take a couple of snaps and store them on my phone so that I can come back to it at some point. So I'm in the process of trying to draft a pattern to make this, but obviously I don't want to use this fabric just yet. Again, I'm going to toile it, I think. But essentially I want to make that out of this, because I think that will be really, really nice. So I got myself a couple of meters of that. And then, yeah, that's the plan with those 2 fabrics. I didn't get anything else from boys at the time. But then I also bought a couple of fabrics from Fabric Godmother, because they have done a little mini collection called Under the Sea. I think it's called Under the Sea. And oh boy, I loved all their fabrics, but I had to buy 2 of them. So the first one I got is this viscose crepe, and this came a few days ago with all these sea creatures on. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I bought 3 meters of this. You know, it's not cheap. I think it was about £18 a meter, this stuff. So, but it's just gorgeous, really gorgeous. So I got 3 meters of that. And then I also got a couple of meters of this one, which they also do in blue, and it's the Wales on viscose crepe as well. So this is on the blush pink background, but yeah, it's got a little, has it got little stars in between? It's really pretty, super pretty. So that's going to be a blouse or top of some sort. I haven't decided which yet. And then I also bought this, because just keeping on the theme of 60s style prints for dungarees for Layla, I spotted this on Fabric Godmother, which was £8 a metre. It's just a cotton poplin, And again, I just thought those colours and the print was very 60s and what Bronte is looking for. So I just got a metre of that again to give me lots of options for all the dungarees. And that's it. That's everything for this week, I think. As I say, I've got a couple of things still on the go. I want to get this dress finished, but I've just parked that to one side for the moment because I want to finish my Maeve and get that done, because we're having Layla this weekend. She's coming tomorrow evening, and then we've got her for the full weekend, so I'm not going to get any time to sew over the weekend, nor would I want to, because I want to make the most of having my little granddaughter. And so I need to get the Maeve finished today if possible, so that I can get those photos taken and ready for the reveal on Sunday. So that's it. Whistle stop tour, although it has still taken me 30 minutes to get through everything that I've been up to this week. I'm going to leave it there. And yeah, I think I will be back next week. I will be back next week. I don't know if I will get the tutorial for the little top edited and sorted for next week, because I've got to do loads of voiceovers and things like that. So I'm going to start working on that. But I will probably be back with another Friday sews next week. Who knows? But yeah, I hope you're all really well, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.